My name is Daniel Orme-Doutre. I'm a senior content producer at Microsoft Production Studios at Microsoft, and I'm a part of the central marketing organization, and I run digital signage for internal Microsoft, so internal corporate communications. I also specialize in touchscreen interactive technology as well. So I am here at DSE, like everybody else, trying to see what the latest emerging technology is, how people are using it, and costs, and figuring out kind of what's new, what's fresh, and learning from end users as well as learning from the people that are selling the products. So I attended, I want to say back in 2009, which is like technology-wise is years and years ago. So I've seen it grow. I know one time it was at the Sands, right? And now it's over here, and I don't know if it bounces back and forth, but I've seen it grow. I've seen people that were end users now being speakers or being on the advisory board. So I've seen people kind of transition into higher levels or larger roles, which is really neat. And people that I've spoken with in luncheons or brown bags and those kind of working roundtables, I've learned to use them as mentors, bounce ideas off them either through LinkedIn or their blogs and things like that. So in terms of growth, I don't know what the numbers are, but it looks full. I see a lot of people. I see a lot of the normal booth providers, and I see a lot of new faces, which is great. I kind of like to come here and see who the new people are, right? The little guys and the little companies and the little technologies that you don't think about, and how that might integrate into a larger, digital signage sense. There's a couple products within Microsoft that are used. Some of those companies are here on the floor. My group uses one of those, and it's basically an on-premises centralized server that manages the content. We aggregate that in from SharePoint, from drop folders and things of that nature, live content as well, and then we push those to the screens. And those screens vary from different manufacturers to various sizes, so 60-inch to 80-inch down to 32-inch. In different parts of the campus. So it could be multiple floors in a building. It could be a video wall. We have some video wall experience as well. It is focused on internal, so employee communications, executive communications, things like product advocacy, news. We're also focusing lately on pushing externally, so going out to remote or field site locations, as well as video wall installations that might not house a lot of internal employees, but are very focused on an external audience. So it's an easy switch. It's just a change of content, because the platform is it's scalable. So it's easy to change that and put it in an external site versus an internal site. As we move into touchscreens, the cost of swapping out, which screens do we swap out to be touch screens? What applications do we use to go with touch? Similarly, we're looking at playing with NFC technology, and I have some other partners on campus that are utilizing NFC and kind of exploring how did you use it, how did you like it, how can we use that. Other challenges are honestly day-to-day building content, influencing people to change their content to be more branded. Things such as getting rid of all the bullet points and the minutia of the content and making it a really strong, powerful message. So adding a little bit of marketing spin into that, even if it's something from a bake sale that employees are having or a hackathon, a coding event, making sure that content is going to resonate well with the people that are watching this on screens. Other challenges are, we get asked a lot, how do you know people are watching the content? Right? So finding ways to measure and track and bring in diagnostics to help push that. People want impressions, they might want frequency and reach, they might want hard data like how many people stood there and watched it and how do I know? So it ranges from all of that. So exploring technologies here on the floor or what other people are doing to help push that measurement side of things. Another area that's a daily challenge is it's technology. I don't care if you're using I don't care if it's a cloud product or any of the exhibitors here. It's going to break. It'll fail. I mean, there's too many pieces to put together. It's displays connected with cables, connected to power, connected to a network. The network is flaky. I mean, up and down, and then you've got content and you've got a system managing. I mean, it's extremely complex. So when something goes down, such as a display because of a power outage, or the network flaked out because the switch or a router broke down in that dev closet, making sure that those are changed out, identifying that problem and fixing it. Down to someone might not like content on the screen. Not that they found it offensive, but they were like, that made no sense to me, or why was it in my building and not somewhere else? So again, the support is always a challenge. Another challenge is a lot of people that send us content to display on the screens. Again, we don't make a lot of the content. We get content from people. They don't want that content to change, right? So they still want to use their GIFs and their clip art and images, and it's really hard to try to influence them to say, this is not great content. We need to really change this to make a better message, and to do that in a nice political way that doesn't say your stuff is crap. I'm gonna swap it out for you. Another challenge, and someone had asked me this last night at a dinner, was there are a lot of setups that I don't manage, and there's a lot of instances where people just don't want to use my team or my services, and they just want to run their own thing. And that gets down to control. People are afraid of giving up that control of digital signage. They think it's cloud, it's the internet, someone's going to have control. I'm not going to be able to get my content on the screen, or how do I know it's going to break, or how do I know that it's going to be running? So there's a level of, I want to say, marketing that's a challenge on a daily or weekly basis about moving into a digital, moving away from a PowerPoint-driven system or an image-driven system to a full, functional, complex digital signage system. There's a time when we went from this analog video to digital video, and now digital video is moving into a very IT-centric role. And if I was going to pick someone, I would be looking for someone with a designer or user design background that has well-rounded background or skill set in IT and AV, that's kind of rare, right? So people focus, I'm just an IT person, I only know ones and zeros and servers, and I know how switches work. And then you have video people, which is I know how to make a video and edit it and put it together. And then you have designers, which are, I'm an artist, I want to create things and make 3D stuff. Really, especially in the digital signage role, to be successful, you need all of those. And if you're not going to build a team on those different aspects, you're going to have to find someone that incorporates all of that. And that's a challenge, right? Because a lot of people come out of school and they're focused on one or the other. And we live in a world where there is no master of one thing. You need to be, a jack of all of those. You need to understand IT. You need to understand, even if you're even if you're an internal house and or a bank or a healthcare facility, and you're going to run digital signage, you need to understand how displays work. It's going to, if you don't, then you have to have someone that's going to work with you on doing that. You need to understand what content is going to look correct on those screens. If you're not going to hire an agency or hire someone to build you content, you better well know how your content's going to work on that. And a lot of that has to do with, you have to know what color contrast ratio is going to work, what type of movement's going to be effective, really doing all that research. For me, when I got in, I was wowed just by the concept, but then once I got the system running, I really found out there was these things that no one ever told me about. Like, certain types of content really resonate with people. You have to define your audience. You have to understand who you're reaching out to. We have specific audiences in specific buildings, and I can tell you certain messages aren't going to work well in those buildings. And so communicating, I would have never thought that, right? I'm thinking it's signage. Everything should just work. So yeah, it's someone that mixes user and design down with IT as well as audio and video. Technology is funny because what you see here isn't really going to hit the market years from now. It takes some time to kind of push that technology out there. I'm still finding people within the organization that, I didn't know we had this. I didn't know this was possible, right? And so they're still kind of surfacing. Is it outdated? No. I make sure that I'm working with companies that are evolving If they're moving to HTML5, I want to move to HTML5. If they're moving to the cloud, I want to make sure I'm moving to the cloud. If they're moving to an ARM device or a thin factor device, I want to make sure that I'm moving in that and doing the tests to make that happen, right? I don't want to move to a piece of technology just because the salespeople say it's here and it's better. I want to make sure that there's some sort of objective to that. Those are the things that I'm constantly looking for. I'll pick one. So one of the lessons is around content. And for years they said content is king and relevancy is king and content is relevant and all of these buzzwords. And it really gets down to, you better know your audience. Most people don't know their audience. And if it's at a booth or a trade show, you need to know who's walking in and touching base with you, right? So when we do booths or interactive screens in booths, in events similar to this, we're going to make sure who are the audience, so that when we develop something, it's going to resonate with that audience. The same thing with internal communications, is certain pieces of content aren't going to resonate well with the employees. Right? Telling them to wash their hands, as much of an HR and LCA thing and a good thing that is, it's not going to really resonate with people. But telling them about a new product or a huge event happening tomorrow that's going to where they're able to win Surface tablets or devices, those are big, right? So understanding your audience, but then understanding the content that'll help achieve that. So that would be one of the learning lessons. Definitely learning a little bit more about a design, as well as some of the marketing aspects of things. What works, what type of content works, how video works compared to moving pictures and images, what type of text works versus building something in PowerPoint or a presentation platform and just pushing it to the screens. Again, a lot of people buy the technology, but they don't dive into making smart and keen and audience-focused messaging on the screens. And I'm still evolving, right? I'm not done. I'm constantly measuring and tracking what works. And in fact, I'm testing some software now, some eye tracking like software that I'm having people go through. I have some volunteers stepping in where they can look at the images. Now it's static images, but having them look at that and trying to see what attracts their eyes, so that I can, does video or does an image of a person, a male or a female or a puppy, does that attract their eyeball on the screen? Yeah, kittens. I would just do everything in kittens. That'll win everyone over. And so tracking what works. Is there specific colors that work better than other colors? And we've been kind of finding that out from the heart and not through science, so we're exploring that. And I think you just got to keep evolving. You can't say, hey, I'm done, I've got my signage platform, I'm good. No, you got to make sure that what's coming around the corner, what are you using, how are you going to continue to engage people to get the messaging that they require, right? So not just the messaging you want them to hear, but the messaging they want. The digital signage industry has arrived.